HerO versus Stephano. It's a best of 3 winners bracket, round number 2. IGN Pro League season number 5. We're going to kick things off on Abyssal City between these two players. One of my new favorite maps. I think the map is not only astoundingly pretty, but also extremely effective at what it tries to accomplish.
It's gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of, oh, it is such an old map. Ice Ever Crevasse. Reminds me of Crevasse.
Somewhere in the world, Rotterdam
is
giggling.
Snow on it.
Absolutely, I can agree. It's really cool. Looks like we're going to get ready to go into the game really soon. Guys, this is IGN Pro League season number 5, HerO versus Stephano. One person will enter, only one person will move on. Stephano or HerO, this is the IPL.
IPL 5.
Over here in the bottom right corner of Abyssal City, we have the Red Zerg player. He's on Team Evil Geniuses. He is
Yeezy Stephano Raid Call.
the most successful StarCraft 2 non-Korean in existence thus far. Stephano's looking really good. Can he take out the blue Protoss player, one of the most famous Protoss players? Even Bisu says he looks for him for inspiration. He is
Liquid HerO.
Well, it's a little bit close between these two right now. Definitely a lot of fans of both players out there, but who is going to take it? I cannot believe this match is going down so early in the bracket. It's a testament to the competition we've got going on here.
Wow, look at those percentages. It just even changed. Man, this is the tightest voting I've ever seen. 50% to, well, 50%. I guess it can't get any closer than can't get closer to that.
Hey, both of these guys are incredible. And you know what? I mean, you mentioned it, HerO was well known for his EVP, but Stephano is just so known for this now, has been finding so much success. So, hey guys, we're getting started off on Abyssal City, a map which a lot of Protosses have lately been using, those Immortal Sentry plays. It's really, really difficult for Zergs to hold it. A lot of chokes, a lot of time to buy area with your force fields. What do you think we're going to see here, Frodan?
Well, you know, we've seen that HerO can do those Sentry Immortals. It was, I mean, the pinnacle of the example of that was when he played Snoot in DreamHack. And he just did a very simple timing. Snoot was not prepared, and HerO just killed him. And if Stephano's not on top of his game, if he doesn't scout enough, if he's not aware, HerO is more than capable of executing those deadly pushes that can completely wipe you off the map. I think the initiative has to be on HerO, though, because, I mean, in the end, it's his builds that he's choosing. He's capable of playing really good Stargate. He can play the Robo. I mean, heck, he can even just drop a Twilight Council and still do a 2-base timing.
No, it's completely true. And, you know, especially about the initiative, Stephano's a player you do not want to allow to just macro up. He becomes so incredibly scary in the late game. I'm actually looking at the stats, waiting for, like, late game God at the bottom of all of that, because this guy is a terror on the field if you let him get to where he wants to be. A quick third, and there's exactly what we're talking about. A third going to go down. The probe does manage to get a little bit of time delay, it looks, but the Zergling's going to be chasing it away.
You can even just look at Stephano's illustrious career, and even that little small lower third doesn't encompass everything. IPL Season 3 champion, that's where, I mean, Stephano got that big attention spike that launched him into international attention. DreamHack Summer Open Round of 4, and of course, the WCS Europe champion. And, I mean, Stephano, to say you're the best European means you can compete more than easily in the Korean level.
Yeah. Definitely the case. Probe is going to make it back alive, and we're going to be keeping an eye quite closely here on HerO to see what he decides to do. You know, he's got his 2 gases in the main. We're starting to approach timings where we may see a 3rd gas. Zergling's going to be hammered away on this forge for a little bit. No +1 started quite yet.
Yep. I mean, HerO, the big indication of what he's going to do with his first 200 gas now. What is he going to choose to do? He looks like he's going to set up for a Stargate play based off of going for a quick Zealot. We'll see what he's going to go for right after here. I wonder what Stephano's also going to do in response, because Stephano's a guy that's been saying he doesn't really like to go for risky plays per se. He likes to play standard, likes to do what he normally does in almost every scenario. Doesn't want to be the guy that tries to play gimmicky per se. And I feel like that's going to be the safer route.
Yeah. So we've got Stargate actually going to be the play that HerO does opt for here. And, you know, not too surprising of a play with how late his gas was. More pylons going down at this time, but here's the thing. All right, I like this decision from HerO. He's going to be able to get Stephano to start playing his game, to make responses to what he's doing, because Stephano really likes to be in control of the game throughout all of it, actually. Like, that's why we see him, you know, he always reliably makes these links, makes these roaches, and pressures his opponent a little bit, because he likes to feel like he's the one who is holding the flow and the tempo.
Yep, and you're exactly right. Earlier with your analysis, Kibbles, HerO does like poking with his initial Zealot Stalker, just putting on pressure. Maybe he could pick off the Queen. Stephano taking a lot of damage, actually, on the Queen. And the Queen is getting very low. Stephano trying to trap with his drones. The Zerglings and their drones do push it back. Queen trying to walk onto creep. But a good snipe from the Stalker does assassinate it. And HerO is able to get some pretty good damage. A lot of kills on the drones. And HerO, just a nice little poke, just slowing down Stephano.
I mean, that Queen is all that he could possibly ask for. That Stalker arcing that last shot over that hatchery and scoring the kill is so important, especially when we've got Stargate play coming out here of HerO. I mean, that's a critical victory against Stephano.
Now, HerO does go for an immediate row, but we've seen Protosses take a quick third after this. And just try to play, you know, really defensive, but you control the map, you can scout, you can harass. I mean, we have seen some Protosses throw down more gates also and follow up the Stargate with a big push, but I don't know if it would work very well on a map like Abyssal City because it is pretty big. There are lots of room for flanks, and, you know, the third is kind of far away from your natural, but it's tucked away in a corner, and I feel like, generally speaking, it's pretty safe if you can defend it accordingly.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. Warp Prism is going to be the play here out of HerO. Overlord gets taken out by these Phoenix, so it's gonna be tough for him to get any vision of that, and in fact, HerO is going to find another Overlord, so Stephano is, he's making a couple more, so that's good. But he's got +1/+1 here on the ground. That's going to limit his gas a little bit, so we may see, I mean, the lair is actually just getting started.
Yeah, it's a pretty late layer, huh?
Yeah, so, I mean, Infestors will be pretty late here, which are definitely nice to have against Phoenix, but it does limit your aggression. He's going to need something here to answer this Warp Prism. There's a lot of sentries out with a ton of energy, and I was saying this earlier, how HerO does not mind going for these sentry drops. This could be pretty scary for Stephano.
Yeah, does Stephano know it's coming, though? Because, again, he's been doing, HerO's been doing a good job denying information, being able to restrict Overlord movement around the map. Stephano's also expecting some kind of quick third base from HerO, but it's already past in that window of time where Stephano should be pretty suspicious of what Protoss is up to, and the Robotics Bay does indicate that Stephano, or that HerO is going to switch over to Colossus, picking up the Queens. No spores from Stephano, despite him having all the time in the world to prepare for the Stargate play, and the second Queen drops. Great snipes from HerO.
All right, so the sentries are on the ground. Round of Warpins is happening, 4 of them right now. It's going to be heading into the third. Where are the units of Stephano? They are down all the way in this bottom right-hand corner. He has nothing anywhere near this expansion to deal with this, but the units aren't moving in quite yet for HerO.
Oh, and Stephano just unleashed another round of drones. He's not really expecting too much aggression here, considering how much harass that he's been picking off, but he does he doesn't have anything in the third base to indicate otherwise. We see HerO still warping into the top of the map, trying to go for a huge push and harass while trying to, well, it could be a third, but it could be a fake as well.
Oh, HerO's moving in with the Zealots and Sentries right now, and everything for Stephano is out on the other side of the map. We'll see if the force fields are going to be able to trap these drones. Stephano already trying to run them away. He has like 6 Zerglings here, and that is it. Going to be going down are the force fields. The Zealots are actually, this is not going as well as it could have for HerO. His Zealots are getting surrounded, and he hasn't done any economic damage.
He has forced the drone. Actually, the drones are still mining as if nothing ever happened. More Zealots are being warped in, and HerO is still trying to harass as much as possible. No third base either. Indeed, was a fake, and HerO trying to commit to this third base to snipe a lot, but there's just too many Zerglings. Stephano able to hold, and the best part is he's delaying all this while being able to get up his tech. He's still getting pathogen glands, and not for a second has he missed a beat.
Oh, this position looks phenomenal for Stephano. He had 1-1 for that, so his Zerglings were able to deal with those +1 Zealots. He's got 2-2 on the way, and Fester's popping out here in a moment. He's actually poised to almost take a 4th base. He just needs to be worried about the possibility of a 2-base all-in, which we're not going to see as the Nexus is going down here at 12.5 minutes, Rodan.
Yeah, and I mean, in the end, Colossus is extremely, extremely effective against Zergling and Fester if you can get into a nice position. You don't let the Colossus get caught. You don't let your units separate from the Colossus. Oh, a big Nexus snipe, no cancel. Oh, and the Colossus is caught out in the middle of the map. And HerO is trying to get it back to safety as soon as possible, but the probe, you can't do anything. What's he doing out there, probe? Like, I got this for you, buddy. You can't do anything.
That guy who jumps in front of a train to block the train, that's gonna hit you anyways.
Oh.
All right, guys, so Stephano now, his infestors are on the field. I mean, Stephano, let's be frank here, looks in a great position. After sniping that Colossus, a good position became a phenomenal one. Let's see if HerO can turn it around with a couple of Zealot drops. No, everything's here for Stephano. He's got the infestors, the lings. He's even gonna catch the War Prism.
Oh, and the Phoenixes, but nice pickup from from HerO to kind of disable any further action. Does lose a couple of Phoenixes. And that just restricts more of his mobility, but Stephano has the right idea. Now this is why I really like Abyssal Cities, because as you start expanding, you start losing more of your ability to turtle, because you start expanding more into the open, it becomes very difficult. If you can even look that the economy of Stephano isn't optimal, HerO still has a really nice probe count relative to 3 bases. If HerO can muster up a big push, still he might be able to hit something pretty high, but for the most part he's been gearing so much of his harass, he doesn't have that much backbone to his army.
All right, luckily the infestors are a little bit slow here, so HerO may be able to snipe this expansion and get away. We'll see. The expansion is going to be canceled. Zealots are actually just going to... Nope, he lifts at the last second. You can see the real attention to detail there, letting the shields fall, but then lifting the Zealots before they actually are killed off.
I actually really like this research also from HerO. He's getting charge as a big priority. We've been seeing Protosses really go for that. As Zealots, when they get up in the face doing DPS, if you have a couple sentries also supporting, not necessarily too many for force fields, they're very effective. As I did get the chance to talk to Todd, who was up on main stage playing Violet earlier, and saying how charge lots are really effective for those 3 base pushes if you can get a good position with them. Meanwhile, though, we do see Neural Parasite being researched for Stephano. We don't see that very often, do we, Gibbles?
No, it's not the most common of researches, but it's not a bad call with Charge. You know, I do want to say, though, Charge works reasonably well, much better than Blink Stalker, certainly, against Infestor Ling. You know, those Charge lots can really just hound down those Infestors, and they kind of string out. You know, they kind of get into a single file line, or even a line that's spread like a colonial-style army, you know. It becomes really difficult to fungal growth them. So the composition, I mean, I do like the decision out of HerO. We'll see if it can bring him a little more back into this game than he's currently standing.
I can imagine like a guy from the Revolutionary War times coming to play Stalker. It's like, what? He shot when it wasn't his turn. How can this Marine keep firing?
Fungal growth.
He has no honor. Oh, HerO trying to move in here with a Warp Prism, and Stephano did barely catch his vision, but he wasn't paying attention because he's paying attention to the army here in the middle of the map. Big engagements, the fungal growth locking out the Colossus. They're actually not even in a line directly to set up the concave. HerO's gonna lose everything. Neural Parasites, and the Colossus is now on the Zerg side. HerO does lose a big chunk of his army. Stephano crushes it pretty easily. Warp Prism is still on the map though, and Zealots are going for that 4th base. HerO wants to limit Stephano's ability to further macro, and that's pretty much the limitation of Stephano's gas.
Oh.
Great snipe here from HerO.
And HerO is going to get the hatchery down, but his whole army has been killed off. 170 supply right now to just 90 for HerO in a really tough spot. And Stephano is now going to turn on the aggression.
Yeah, I mean, HerO has the right ideas. It's just, does he have enough to hold off any kind of counter push? And he only has a 30-40 army supply compared to Stephano, who's on the borderline of max, and he's getting his Greater Spire, leaving a little bit of supply room for his Broodlords. And I don't think HerO set himself up well at all to be able to face off against an Infested Broodlord army. He doesn't have anything really to be able to hold off against anything of that late game composition.
Yeah, he really doesn't. It looks like Stephano is going to be falling back for the moment, though, bringing back, in fact, his entire army. So we do see he's got a Spire and a Greater Spire on the way. So he's really going to be investing into Broodlords in a minute. And, well, probably going to work out for him. It's going to be tough. HerO, in fact, you know, he really likes going for Void Rays against Broodlords, and he just does not have the money to afford that. No,
he's on 3 base. Even a Mothership is kind of expensive on 3 base. Yep. You really have to limit some of the things you do. This is nice from HerO. Again, harassing the 4th base. HerO has marked this 4th base. He might as well have peed on it just to mark his territory, because this is my area. Don't expand on it. Keep harassing while pushing over the bottom half of the map. And Stephano, he's doing some nice things, poking around, trying to stall for more Broodlords whilst freeing up supply. He's doing this very nicely, maybe even to pick off some 3 units if he can land a fungal from the high ground.
Yeah, but you know, the Archons from HerO here are definitely fending off these Zerglings. It makes it much more difficult for Stephano to actually engage this. Now, it looks like he's going to try to force something because he needs to get rid of a little bit of this supply to make some Corruptors, to make some Broodlords, but he wants to wait until he makes, until he gets more gas, ideally. You know, he's bringing in gas off 4 bases, but he's only got 200.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Zerg wants to bank. They want to be able to have that security, knowing that even if their first wave of units dies, they have a second wave. Oh, every unit that HerO loses is, I mean, especially Stalkers, that's gas that he can't use towards anything else if he wants to contribute towards a fleet beacon or if he wants to get more Templars out for Storm as well as Archons. More harassments, I mean, minerals aren't too important for HerO right now, but he's doing a minimal investment. Able to snipe the 4th base would be huge. I don't know if he's going to get it, though.
Lings have a little bit too much damage, but, you know, Stephano, he's very on the ball here with limiting this harass, always bringing his army home whenever it's not needed out, being aggressive, and that's letting him get a lot done. Meanwhile, Stephano has now completed his 5th base in the center of the map towards the right, and he will be mining gas off that momentarily.
Yeah, Stephano's doing this, I mean, pretty much right. He's making sure that not only does he have the great composition, he's got a solid backup plan, even being able to defend this 4th base, making sure that, you know, he's not going to lose anything silly. You know, he's not going to get dropped in the main, lose his Greater Spire. He's not going to lose his expansions because he needs all those for success. And he's finishing up all those deadly upgrades, not just for the Zerglings, but also those Broodlings with 3-3. They're pretty devastating.
They definitely are. And, you know, the attitude from Stephano really seems like, yes, I'm incredibly ahead and I could probably beat my opponent right now, but why go for that while some Zealots and High Templar actually get cleaned up over at that base that HerO's just not been able to kill? But Stephano, you know, why do the endgame fight without the endgame ZVP composition, which Protoss have had so much trouble with in the past?
Yeah, you know, HerO's approaching this a lot like Rain, not necessarily trying to go for a Mothership Archon army, but trying to push. He's going to get a second War Prism out and Gravitic Drive and try to control the map while sniping expansions. This is really cool to watch Rain execute it, but it's really tough because it's very on the razor edge thin. You can lose your Templars. All of them get fungled except for just a couple. Oh, that could have ended so much worse for HerO, but he does manage to get a couple more storms and push back the Zerg army. Meanwhile, second War Prism is out. The first did get cleaned up. Overall, HerO's been doing this very tight edge rope, but he's not out of it just yet.
Yeah, he's down to 141 supply, and Stephano has been dealing with this harass so incredibly, and it looks like he's starting to gear up for that big attack. He's got an incredibly large number, 7 Broodlords, 9 Infestors, 11 Roaches, and 50 Zerg, up to 98. A ton of them just spawned, and Stephano's now going to be denying this 4th base out of HerO. We'll see if he can hold it.
Nah, I don't really think he can. The Broodlords can take too good of a position. The Infested Terrans have bought so much time. If the Stalkers get too close, or the High Templars, it's just a simple fungal. But HerO's doing this really nice. Another Zealot run by to the 4th base, trying to limit the gas intake. This is awesome. Stephano, meanwhile, has tried to grab a 5th expansion in the middle of the map for continual map control map, but he's pushing in, and he's keeping HerO at bay. The most he can do is harass with those Zealots. He wants to get into a position to blink forward. The Stalkers are in position now to snipe the Broodlords as quick as possible. Neural Parasite on the Archon to try to add some DPS. Stephano doesn't have that many Broodlords left. HerO's managed to crush a lot of the army, but he doesn't have the bank compared to Stephano.
Yeah, and Immortals are not the last units he wants to have here against the Zergling reinforcements, but that was a beautiful play out of HerO. I don't know that he could have asked for much better there. The blink forward really catching Stephano off guard. He cleaned up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the Stalker count is not the overwhelming number. He was not able to even deal too well with the Infestors. The fact that there's still some alive to be able to add support. Broodlord's actually morphed directly under the Stalkers. That's the confidence that Zerg feels at this moment. HerO running out of options, running out of units.
And
GG!
Gonna go down for HerO.
Wow, game number 1 goes to Stephano, and if you told me before this tournament if you're reading off his Twitter saying Stephano didn't feel confident, I didn't see that all in his play. Great poise, never seemed under true threat. It came down a little bit to also the opening. Skibbles, what did you really think about the match?
You know, HerO went for that Stargate plan. It actually got a lot done. He killed the Queen in the early game. If we go back to that Stalker and Zealot, they got some very important damage done to line up the Stargate. But overall, I mean, Stephano just played such a beautiful mid-game, and it looked like HerO wasn't able to get enough done with that War Prism. Actually, that War Prism harass getting cleaned up. was really important for Stephano.
No, it's very easy for any Zerg to crumble under that kind of Warp Prism pressure. I mean, it's HerO, the guy that was one of the Protoss pioneering that kind of harass, especially in the Protoss vs Zerg matchup. Just generally speaking, Stephano did a really good job shutting it down, making sure to lock down the units, making sure he didn't lose. I mean, he lost the fourth 2-3 times, but how much did HerO have to invest to get into it? In the end, it is gas loss, but it's also just 300 minerals for another hatchery, while Stephano is still able to buy time. Time is, I feel like, is just as valuable a resource as gas in that scenario.
That's a fantastic point, and it really did play into Stephano's favor that game. So we will shortly be moving into game 2. And actually, I want to go back. You know, I would have liked to see force fields at that third, the ramp where the Zerglings came from. Yeah. No, not the warping, excuse me. Like, it was a warp prism. And he had all of those units. He had 3 sentries with a ton of energy, a massive quantity of zealots. And, you know, of course, HerO couldn't really have known that the Zerglings were so out of position. But really could have turned things around for him there. Yeah,
I mean, he did invest a lot. It was kind of interesting, too, because he didn't take a quick third behind that. We usually see sometimes you go like 5 Phoenixes, get a Robo, expand to a third base, and you try to use some force fields as well, and squeeze out Immortals really quickly in case they roach pressure. And even then, it's still very tight edge rope. You're not necessarily guaranteed to be able to hold, but on a map like Abyssal City, maybe could have worked out. But instead, he went for a Robotics Bay right afterwards, tried to get Colossus, saw Infestor Zergling, because obviously Immortals can't do really much against that kind of composition. Great ideas from HerO, but overall, I think Stephano with his, I mean, he's really trying to go for Infestorling all the time. We saw it a lot in some of the other leagues he played, DreamHack, NASL, so as well as some of the other online tournaments, ESWC even. And now he's really trying to push that forward. He's not just a Roach Max player anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, he's almost a Ling Infestor Max, which worked out fantastically for him. But you know what? Beautiful things out of Stephano there, guys, because he didn't push for the kill. He waited to get those Broodlords, and he macroed incredibly. Will HerO have the answers necessary to deal with this? It's going to be game 2 on Entombed Valley.
Entombed Valley,